What's going on, guys? This is your boy XQ420. I want to welcome everybody back to another episode of Showtime with the Cube. I've got my co-host with me, Corey Hughes. Corey, are you doing good this afternoon?
I am doing excellent this afternoon.
Good. I think I'm doing pretty well myself, no doubt about it. We're going to be talking about Andor today, and we had two good episodes, especially episode 6. But if it's the first time to this channel, don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button. Following us on podcast platforms, hit the follow button there. We appreciate everybody's support. So, Corey, we're going to, of course, do episodes 5 and 6. We're going to do a smash up today. I think they both linked together really well.
Yes.
Episode 5 gave you the build up to the climactic events in episode 6. So we're going to start with episode 5, which the name of it, The Axe Forgets.
The show has been flowing very well. It's almost like they took future episodes into consideration when they wrote the script.
What do you know?
It's fucking shocking.
It said, "Hey man, how about if we have a slower episode? How about it build up some tension, build some things up towards this climactic event we're gonna have in the next episode. Bring them back down." I was just like, but I got to be honest. This has been a well-done show so far. All right. Now, we don't know how it's going to end up, if it might get chaotic, but from seeing what we got so far, it has been a well-done show overall. Can you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. And the great thing is, we actually have a longer season than we normally get from these kind of shows. We have 11 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. And we're only at episode 6, so we got a whole bunch more to go, which is I'm very looking forward to.
Oh yeah, and I think they've done really well, even with characters who haven't made it. They've done well as far as building them up. But we're starting in episode 5. Okay, The Axe Forgets, and this actually the name of the episode comes from a statement that one of the gentlemen makes to Clem. I got to get my man's name right, Orville Skeen, when he tells him, the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. You cut the tree down and say, "Hey, but I mean, we got beef. So this particular episode, we actually do revisit Karn. And so of course, he's been booted from his job. He's moved back in with his mom. And from what I had seen with the episodes he was in, I didn't think I was going to see him again. But seeing how we're seeing him again, he's got to play some type of major role in the future, don't you think, Corey?
Oh, yeah. Remember a couple episodes ago I said, look for his redemption arc. And I think that's what we're going to end up getting. He will he's disillusioned now that he's been kicked out after doing what he thought was everything he could on that mission. And so, yeah. I don't think he's going to be groveling back to go work for the Empire anytime soon. So what options does he have, really? I think we're going to have some kind of episode where he just happens to, by chance, come across our main character. And from there, something will happen that brings him into the fold.
You think he might be brought into the fold with the rebellion?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking too. With the way things have proceeded, I don't see him getting back in with the Empire either. Which of course they almost like the foot of the Empire,
Yeah.
The Pre-More authority. So I don't see him being able to get back in there and move up the ranks in any way, unless he's going to be trying to do some type of, or we could have an arc where he joins the rebellion, and then he actually wants to get back in the Empire, and so he tries to sabotage some of their missions. That could be an arc as well.
That could be an arc as well, for sure. Mm-hmm. He does look a little squirrely, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He looks like somebody you can't trust. But we come to find out that everybody in this particular group that is going to do this heist cannot be trusted almost. I mean, it's almost every single person. There's a whole lot of tension in between them. And Cassian, which they know him as Clem, he wakes up that next morning. His weapons have been taken from him. They're going through his stuff. And so it's automatic right there that the group still is not buying who he is and what his purpose is of being there. So how do you feel about the tension in between that? Between especially him and Skeen, as we see later on. What do you think about that?
It's to be kind of expected, isn't it? I mean, this is and as we'll see in the next episode, it's a pretty hairy adventure they have to go on. And to have somebody come in so last minute is just really, I would be freaking out about it too. So yeah, it's understandable. There's tension there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. Now, in this episode, okay, we find out exactly why Cassian's there and why he needed to be there. When they were talking about performing the actual heist, and they're asking, well, how do you calculate how much weight the ship can hold? Cassian's looking at them guys like, y'all don't fucking know? It's oh my God. So Luthien knew that if he didn't get Cassian there, all them were gonna die. Like they had nobody to fly the ship, period.
Right, and that brings up the question again: is why does he know so much about Cassian in the first place?
Exactly. How long has he been in the wings looking at Cassian? Some of the deeds he's been doing. So that's coming into question now. How long Luthien has actually been following Cassian? Because when they're sitting there talking about it, Bo, and Cassian turns back and looks at him, it's like, what do you mean how much weight he can hold? It's like, can you just tell us the number? It's like, oh my God, y'all, this is doomed to fail. All right, and he just comes straight out and says, he said, look, I'm flying the ship, okay, because it's obvious that we ain't got nobody else here that can fly it. Now we start feeling the actual nerves of that mission starts right then. Mm-hmm. That's when you start feeling some of the characters getting nervous. I think they played that very well. You see the actual leader, what's her name? Vale Sartha. You see the look in her eyes, like, damn, I'm the leader, but, I'm very nervous about this mission. And we actually see that in the next episode. How do you feel about the actual nervous anxiety that you actually felt in between the characters at that time? I think they did a really good job at that.
Yeah, that was a huge portion of the show, was kind of ironing out the tensions between them. Mm-hmm. Regardless of how it was presented, like when they're discussing the weight issue, it becomes obvious that they were fucking doomed. They didn't have a clue what they were doing. And as far as certain very specific pieces of information that were crucial in pulling off this heist. Mm-hmm. So
like an escape plan. That's crucial.
Right, and so I think that he gained some trust amongst the group by pointing that out and volunteering to fly the ship. So that was good at the moment.
Yeah, even though they were a tad reluctant.
Oh yeah.
As far as him, because of course he's a new guy. We don't know who he is. Of course, during that time, Skeen is overlooking him with a very keen eye. All right, and we actually see the outlook of Skeen in episode 6, but Skeen at that time is rumbling through his stuff, and we see that Andor is, but he's a no nonsense type of guy. That's what we figured out so far. This dude, he's dead serious about stuff. There's no jokes. He's not trying to make a funny, and I actually like that about his character, that they're maintaining this and not trying to. And I haven't seen at any point in time during the show where they're actually just trying to, just throw some comedic relief in, just for it to be there. And I think that's one of the things I like about this. What do you think, Corey?
Oh, I agree. They're not throwing in like little cheap bits that we get in a bunch of other shows. So yeah, the tone of the show is very serious.
Mm-hmm.
Way more than Mandalorian or Boba Fett or anything else.
Yeah, because even in Mandalorian, I mean, when you got Baby Yoda, that kind of breaks the ice, because everybody's like, oh, cute Baby Yoda. You know what I'm saying? That kind of became a internet sensation. Well, when they first introduced Baby Yoda, so that kind of softens the mood, even though he can use the Force. It kind of softens the mood because it's a baby. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things I am enjoying about this. That, I mean, it's serious stuff they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no time for jokes. Ain't no time for nonsense. And I don't know exactly how long they've been out there in these hills. And we find out the reason they're actually able to stay in the hills. There's a tribe nearby, the Darien. I think that's the name. Or the Darney? Is that how you say it?
Oh, I don't recall offhand, but I'm sure you're right.
It's the ones that went and were celebrating around that rock.
Right, right.
in episode 6. So we're actually seeing their journey. Now, the one thing I didn't realize from the previous episodes, which maybe they said something about it, the other black gentleman who rode up later on and actually talked to the group, he's actually an Imperial lieutenant, Lieutenant Gorn. I didn't realize that. I didn't catch that from the previous episode. I didn't remember if anybody said it, but we find out he's actually a lieutenant in the Imperial Army, and he's been there for 7 years. And we actually find out that the other black gentleman, Tamarin, he's actually a former stormtrooper. I don't think that they had a whole lot of those descent. Like, we seen that in The Force Awakens, but I thought that was something that didn't really happen.
Right. Well, you got to think Han Solo originally was part of the Empire until he left. That was, but that was only very early on in his life before he became a scoundrel and a smuggler. But no, I think I think in this era you're going to see a lot of that. A lot of people have been stepped on by the Empire and they're just over it.
Right. And Lieutenant Gorn, he has kind of reign over the facility that they're looking to actually loot. And I didn't realize it at first. It's straight up money. I thought they were going to get something else, but it's straight up credits, which I guess it almost looks like gold bars for them.
Right. So at least in the future, they don't have trackable money, right?
Yeah, that's what I was like.
Well, it's a long time ago in a galaxy far away, so I guess it's a long time ago in the past. But so at least they still have a fungible currency, which is more than we can say about our dollar here in America. Yeah, it's pretty interesting that they don't have some sort of. I mean, it's the Empire, and they're still running. They're still using like these little coin-looking things. I mean, so it's interesting. Interesting take on money of a futuristic society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and they actually call that the payroll. So I'm assuming that's the money stash that they actually use to pay all the men in the area, the lieutenants, the captains, all that stuff. That's my assumption of that.
Right.
And of course, we find out later on that Lieutenant Gorn has been actually a lieutenant there, or actually stationed there for 7 years. So there's no telling how long this actual plan has been unfolding.
Right.
For Luthien. I would figure at least a few years, because you got to do some real planning. Things have to be stolen to get the gear for the men and all that stuff, and learn the rotations of the guards and things of that nature. So this plan might have been unfolding for a little bit of time.
Oh, for sure. It was interesting to see that defection, at least in as far as what's his name again? The one who's the lieutenant.
Lieutenant Gorn.
Lieutenant Gorn. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was an interesting twist for me. I didn't really see that one coming, that he was actually with the rebellion, but I thought it played out pretty nicely.
Yeah. Well, and what I always say, you got to have a man on the inside.
Right.
Isn't it the way it always is? The good guys have a man on the inside. The villains have a man on the inside. That's the way you always got to work it. Everybody always has a man on the inside, both sides.
Yes, it does seem that way.
I mean,
we saw the same thing happen in Obi-Wan, right? We had an insider in Obi-Wan also, that female.
Yep. So I mean, that's one of the things to actually get a rebellion started, to actually gain access to things that you need as far as empirical. And I'm assuming that this, of course, we don't believe this is going to cripple the Empire, but it seems more like this is to further fund the rebellion. You believe that to be the case?
Yeah, because it seems like the funding sources that they were using through Mon Mothma are going to be more scrutinized, right? So I'm assuming they're getting money from her. Her finances are probably going to be under watch, and so they needed some sort of untraceable way to fund their efforts.
Yeah, and Luthien, I don't know how many artifacts he's selling, but I would figure not enough to buy ships and guns and all that.
No, that whole operation seems like it's a front.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's no doubt about that. That it's a front. He does seem to have customers every once in a while, though, as we've seen in that last episode. So the actual we move forward, um, and they are making their way to the site where they're going to set up to change into their imperial outfits
Mm-hmm.
and start to ascend towards the actual facility. And as they stop, Keen actually runs up behind Andor, puts the blade to his neck, and they have a confrontation right there. Right there, he snatches
Mm-hmm.
the actual chain off of his neck that has the, I can't remember the name of the, but it's worth
It was a kyber
30,000
crystal.
credits. Yeah, there you go, kyber crystal. And then that's where tensions really start to build right there. All right.
So just in case you didn't know,
mm-hmm.
the kyber crystals are the type of crystal that go into a lightsaber.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I knew it was some type of crap. I couldn't remember what it was though. I couldn't remember what it was. Sometimes, that stuff gets lost on me. So of course that's something that's very special, very valuable. 30,000
Mm-hmm.
credits worth. And everybody there knew exactly what it was. And they knew, because they would say at that point in time that with this, the Jedi haven't been around for a while, so that's. I guess they're very familiar with the old ways then, and
Either that or things that are valuable, and they just know
yeah.
it because it's valuable, and they're kind of scavengers to some degree.
Yeah, and so it must have. Well, okay, so we know it goes in lightsabers. Then I'm thinking that maybe it has some other use as well, because I wouldn't foresee them making a ton of lightsabers.
No, not at all.
Anybody else. Yeah, for anybody else.
So there has been some conflicting information from the Star Wars canon over the years, because the kyber crystal, according to the Old Republic and the Old Republic video games, the kyber crystals they all start off with that blue or green or purple kind of tint, that color, right? Like Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, and that they're the red ones that the Sith use. The reason that they're red is because their hatred and their use of the dark side corrupts the crystal and turns it red. That's why their lightsabers are red. However, in more recent Star Wars canon and lore, it's been changed to where it's just the color of the crystal that determines the color of the lightsaber. So I like the older interpretation of that better.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I can get down with that. Well, sometimes whenever they're making multiple books, different people's writing it, making video games as well. Sometimes some of that stuff gets mixed up. Sometimes they don't go quite off the lore, off the canon. So some things can get lost out there. But but that's all good. That's not a deal breaker. Now, with the confrontation in between them, between Andor and Skeen, Andor just goes ahead and spills the beans. He said, "Look, guys, I'm getting paid. All right, that's the only reason why I'm here. I'm looking to win and walk away. That's it. I'm looking to get a win, get my money, and then walk away from y'all. All right." And that's right after Skeen actually pulls the crystal off his neck, and they have a little back and forth there. And Skeen gives him the story that he's here because they killed his brother. So he's looking for revenge, the normal revenge thing. Now we find out some things later on in that next episode about that. But they have that moment right there, but they come to their senses because once again, Clem, Andor, is the only one that can fly. That's it. Without him, this thing falls to pieces.
Yep.
Because it also looked like that they actually needed him to actually fill up the formation as well, because it looks like they always come with fours as far as the Imperial troops when they're escorting people. So it's just like, Bo, if they didn't have Andor, man, you know what I'm saying? This thing was going to fall to pieces. It was going to fall to pieces real quick. But it's actually smart planning. You have the lieutenant on the inside. You have a former stormtrooper who understands the call outs, how they need to march, the things he needs to say. So they actually planned that particular part out very well. The lucky part is getting Cassian off of Ferrex. That's the lucky part.
Yeah. I think they did a good job with the infiltration. Kind of a lucky chance that they got called to be the escorts in the 6th episode. That was kind of hokey, but it was okay. We can roll with it.
Yeah. You just play right along with it. I was wondering if they actually killed some guards and took their place, but I'm assuming that they didn't. That they just got these guards, probably from Lieutenant Gorn over the years, some sneaking stuff out. Also, I'm assuming most of these people don't know each other, as far as people within the Empire, as far as the grunts. So to speak.
That's kind of the impression
guards.
I got.
Yeah, that they don't know each other. It's like, oh yeah, you got this unit, we got that unit. We don't intermix. We don't know each other's name. It just kind of seems like anonymous. We just know you're in a suit, you march a certain way, so you must be with us. That's the way it seemed. Which you figured it would be a whole lot more close knit, but it seems like the higher ranks, the higher you go up in the rank, then the more that you are known per se amongst the group. So. They might want to think about that in the future, but of course we know that's kind of their mantra: nameless, faceless. So you're expendable. You die, you die with your mask, and that's it. So that's kind of going along with their mantra as far as the way that they see their troops and see their people. Can you agree with that?
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yep. So this particular episode, it kind of ends with them coming up about to perform the mission. They see some fighter planes out there. What do you call those? What kind of fighter jets are those? I can't remember the name of all of them.
Which ones?
The ones with the circle in the middle with the 2 wings straight on the outside.
That is holy shit! I can't believe I can't remember that. It's not a TIE.
It's not a TIE fighter, is it?
I think it is the TIE fighter. Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. I had that in my mind. I was just like, man, I don't know if that's it or not. I don't know if that's it or not. I said, but I can't. I just tell you, man. I don't know. So that sounds like it. But there was a moment where, what's the other gentleman's name? Karras, which is one of the people in the group with Cassian, Vale, and the others, and he's talking to Andor, and he's talking about how he's nervous, and Andor gives us some foreshadowing. All right, every time this word is said, you know what's going to happen to that character. Don't worry, kid. Everything will be all right. That means you're screwed, dog. Okay. In a coming episode shortly, your death is imminent. That's what that means. All right. and so they move on from there. They move into position, and that's where we are going to jump into episode 6. There's some back and forth with Gorn and the other the higher up. I can't remember that guy's name. Is it Captain Vanis? I believe.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Captain Vanis. So they have some back and forth with that. We have a short interlude with Mon Mothma talking with her daughter and her husband. There's not a ton of stuff there in between them on that. Did you get anything from that particular interaction?
No, to me it just prefaced to us that she would be somehow important in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of what I got from that.
Yeah. So they have that small breakfast scene, but then we're gonna move into episode 6, which episode 6 parlayed perfectly off of episode 5. Episode 6 is a flat out banger. Okay, there is no doubt about it. this episode had the correct amount of tension, and like every moment, no moment felt wasted. Can you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. Action packed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. Which is, this is the episode 6 is the highest rated episode so far in the entire series.
Well, I think it's just because in general people like it when things blow up. So when you get episodes where things blow up, they're going to get higher ratings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But the blowing up part wasn't even the part for me. It was the nuances within it. As far as getting to that, like the whole time when they were infiltrating, Bo, you felt tension. Okay, you could feel it from Lieutenant Gorn. You could feel it from them, even though they were in character. You could just be like, Bo, I mean, at any moment now, one slip up, and we're gonna be in a straight up battle. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that whole time. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. So we have them split up into 2 groups. We have the group with Tamarin, with Cassian, Skeen, and the other gentleman, if I remember his name, Karras, and they are the troops. Okay, and what they're doing is actually leading. Let me get this name right. I think the Donnie. That's it. And they got this old man with a stick. All right. And I guess they go and they celebrate around this rock. It almost looks like the Northern Lights that they're celebrating. It
looked like that meteor shower. It seemed like.
Yeah, that's what it was. As we see later on in the episode, it can actually damage you. But it's some type of ritual. And from what I'm understanding, the Donnie has actually been on this particular land where they have their facility at for hundreds, thousands of years. Because Lieutenant Gorn and the other gentleman talk about how, at one point in time there was 15,000 that came up there, but now the numbers are dwindling because they're actually talking about actually furthering the facility and actually tearing down their monument. And so it seems like there might have been battles in the past in between the Empire and them because the way they escort them up there, the way they say, hey, don't make any sudden movements or anything like that, it makes me think that they might have had some battles in the past. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's possible. It was interesting to see how the Empire had been sabotaging them to dwindle their numbers by putting so the places that they migrate from to that spot, they decided to put a bunch of cantinas with cheap alcohol and stuff like that. And the numbers dwindled from like a group of 500 down to 60. So they were the Empire was doing whatever it could to intentionally dwindle this group.
Yeah, pretty much. Because pretty much what they wanted to do, move them off the land completely. All right, move them off the land completely. We take over all of this. We continue to build our facility, expand our facility even more. So it does, as you said, it does seem like their plan had been working. But it looks like their tactics, they were, because it did look like more older people who were going up to actually do the celebration. So, of course, we know without any younger people, eventually it would just fall off completely. So right. I can agree with you there as far as that going. But they seem to, as opposed to going about it, which, it's the Empire, they could just go and kill all of them. I mean, they could go that, but instead of going that route, you know what I'm saying, it makes it seem like they are being courteous with them. Let's say that.
Right. False courteous.
Yeah. False courteous. So we have the 2 teams split. We've got Andor and the crew, other 3 gentlemen, and then we've got the 2 ladies that go off separately. Now, of course, with Andor and the crew, they're actually leading or part of the infantry that is escorting the Donnie up the mountain to their sacred rock, where they jump around and yell nonsense and light fires. I was sitting there, I was like, man, where'd y'all find these cats at? And look, man, the leader looks dead serious about this, all right? The man looks dead serious. It's like, man, this is the sacred time of the year. You know what I'm saying? The light show was pretty good at the end. But we see that, and then we have the young ladies. They're in a separate area. They're actually block, or their job is to block the comms so they can actually infiltrate without other people outside knowing. All right, without the comms being able to work for the Empire. Now, they have an issue with their radio. They got like the old busted radios. All right, and I don't know if they thought about this, but I was like, man, if you're on a frequency that somebody else can tap into that frequency, you do know that. So if somebody was fishing around trying to figure out what's going on, oh, this is our frequency. It's like, well, somebody else could tap into the frequency. So I thought that was something that they overlooked. What do you think, Corey?
Well, I think it was some older tech that most people weren't using. I think that's kind of what they were thinking by going with that. But I guess when you're the Rebel Alliance and you're just starting up, you got to wing it with what you got.
Yeah, we low budget right now. That's why we're trying to steal some money. Instead, man, we trying to get this operation done on a budget. That's what we got right now. So yeah, we've got Cassian and the crew leading them up the actual mountain, hill, whatever you want to call it, and then we've got the other young ladies trying to infiltrate. Now they almost get caught. Now when they were out there in the rocks and the Imperial guards came up, I thought for sure at that point in time that because my man's got the earpiece in, I thought for sure at that point in time he's going to say something. The radio was going to go off. Then he's going to have to shoot him. But that's one of those things about the tension. Like you're like, shit, are they going to have to shoot these folks? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then nothing happened. The dude took a piss and he walked off. I'm like, once again, it's one of those moments where they just did a good job of keeping you at the edge of your seat.
Yeah, they're doing a good job keeping the tension thick.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's no doubt about it. Now, they actually lead them up the hill. Lieutenant Gorn comes down, talks to the guys, say, hey, make sure nothing happens. And somehow Cassian's group gets all the way to the front. Of course, Lieutenant Gorn has made it that way, but because he separates the groups out. And I'm glad they knew which group they were, okay? Because so, group 1, 2, and 4, stay here, and in group 3, and somebody else think they're group 3, and they start walking up. It's like, hold on, I'm group 3. Like, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just be like, oh, shit. Wrong group. Now I got to shoot out. But once again, nothing happens. They make their way up. You're like, okay, this plan's going. Everything's going according to plan so far. Now, at that point in time, Vale and the other young lady are in the actual, on the side of it's almost like a dam, almost what it looks like. And they're climbing up the side, and my man's tapping in, Tamarin, and he's like, hey guys, are you in position? And it's almost at that point in time where Vale looks like she's lost her nerve. Did you catch on to that?
Oh, yeah.
Where she was, but she like froze up.
She was jittery. She was scared, and she put the whole mission at risk. Yeah.
I was just like, girl, are you going to go? It's just like, and the other young lady's name is Kaz. But Kaz seems to be the more confident of the two women, as we see later on. When she strikes down the gentleman, but she seems to be the more confident, which kind of comes back to how wondering how Vale became the actual leader of the group. Kind of brings that into question. Yeah, I'm guessing so. Probably the first one that Luthien came across, and so probably had the some of the initial ideas. But we see that as far as her character goes, like she's in it, but like she ain't like. As deep as everybody else as far as her convictions and not freezing under pressure. And you called on to all that.
Oh, yeah. So I do have a question, though. One thing I don't know if we mentioned or not. So inside the antiquity store, who is the female working for, what's his name?
Oh, Luthien. I don't know. Because they do conversate.
She sure as hell looks like a young Princess Leia, if you ask me. It looks like a CGI Princess Leia face. So
you think so?
I think it's a good possibility.
Well, he hadn't said her name. I don't believe.
No, he hasn't.
I don't believe he said her name.
He hasn't, but she looks just like her, even though she's Princess Leia at this point and should be off doing her Senate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, you might have a good point there. Wow. But she is in on what Luthien is doing because they actually conversate about it.
Correct.
So she is in on it. So it hasn't been hidden from her. Of course, Luthien is very nervous. Actually, Luthien. If you look at the way he acted, he believed. I don't think he thought that the mission was going to succeed.
Oh no, I know it seemed like a long shot for him.
Yeah, I mean, like just his whole bravado about him. It just seemed like, nah, man. This boy, I've put them in some deep doo doo, man. I mean, I don't know how this is going to work out, or if it's going to work out. But they do manage to infiltrate the facility. Vale and Kaz. Vale manages to get the trace or the communication jammer up, get that going, and from there, they actually take hostage of what's this dude's name again, boy? He got all these names and it messes you up. Anyway, the general and his family.
Right.
All right. The general and his family. And so the general tries to play it off as if, oh, man, there's no way for me to get in the payroll and all that. Isn't that what they always say?
Oh, always.
It's just like a bank manager. Oh,
I don't have the bank codes.
Yeah. Bo, you're not the manager. Okay. But they ain't sending special people up here to unlock this thing, man. I know you got the bank codes. And so, and of course, Lieutenant Gorn, he's been in there for a while, so he understands the ins and outs. Now, during that moment when they actually put the jammer down, it's actually shown that, hey, we mean business, do as we say, and all of y'all won't die, okay? Because there's the one gentleman who pulls the gun, and Kaz proceeds to put him down. All right? So, as we said, Kaz seems to be the stronger of the two females as far as being willing to shoot, not being nervous under pressure. She's actually the one that gets left with the family a little bit later on. And so they move from that point, and then this is where we get into the deep doo-doo, okay? We get into the deep doo-doo. They get inside to where they can actually get to the payroll vault, and this is where stuff starts to go awry. They get the gentleman over there to assist them, but at that point in time, there's a gentleman in the tower that picks up on their transmission, and that's when shit goes awry.
Yes. The following 10 or 15 minutes or so was the most exciting action-packed 15 minutes of television I've seen in a goddamn long time. I was very excited for this, and they pulled it off like it was a movie. So I thought it was done very well.
Yeah, I mean, it was movie scale, and that's one of the things I am enjoying about this show is that it's not wasting any moments. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. At no point in time do you feel like, okay, well, this is just filler right now. You know what I'm saying? Everything seems to be moving together as a cohesive plot. You don't. It doesn't seem like you're just giving filler. Like some of them they give you some random romance or something, or they want the banks. You know what I'm saying? But this is like straight to the point. It's like, look, we got somewhere to go here, okay? And so we're gonna get you there. And once they get the gentleman to actually, or get the captain to actually unlock it, that's when they get the other gentleman to help them move in the credits. What looks like gold bricks. Now, I don't know how much they actually were thinking about taking. I have no idea. There's a lot in there.
It could only hold so much, so they ended up with, I think, 60-something million? Was that what they said the number was?
No, 80.
80 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's enough to fund a rebellion for quite some time.
Yeah, 80 million credits. I'm assuming inflation hadn't hit them yet. Once the 80 million credits are stolen, will that cause a spike in inflation? That's what we want to know. All right, that's what everybody wants to know. Once their communications is infiltrated. Once the gentleman in the tower knows that, hey, something's going awry, they assimilate right then. All right. And the actual, once they get in there with the weaponry, Lieutenant Gorn tries to shoo them away so there's not a shootout.
Right.
All right. He's like, hey, man, what y'all doing here? We got a special mission going on. You're not supposed to be here. You need to move on. But one of the things that gave it away, the damn captain with his fat ass, which earlier in the episode, he told his wife, he said, did my sash get smaller? She said, no, you're fat. No, you got larger. I was like, oh, man, that's epic. I said, she just called him a fat ass. But obviously he's not used to overexerting himself. The man flat out has a heart attack, what it looks like.
Yep. Sure
Falls out dead. And then that's where the battle ensues. Guys, if you have not watched this episode, you need to watch it. Okay? That's just all there is to it. You need to stop what you're doing. Go watch the episode. Because, I think this is a perfect battle scene as far as the blasters and everything. The tension. Multiple characters in poor situations. Lieutenant Gorn, he gets shot down immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So he's dead.
Well, he would have been a loose end, so he had to go.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Tamron tries to go and actually save Vale. I believe, was it Vale? He tried to go save Vale, or was it? Yeah. So he tried to go out there and save Vale. She was pinned down. Skeen was covering. Tamron gets shot down. So boom, right out the gate, there's 2 down early.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cassian gets into a battle. All right. And he's actually in a chokehold and gets saved because he was pretty much done.
Oh yeah.
At that point in time, he was pretty much done. And Karras actually saves him, shoots the guy in the back of the neck and actually saves him there. So they managed to get the ship off the ground and start the ensuing takeoff. Now, during this time, there's a mishap that happens to Karras. The damn, for some reason, he stood in between the two bricks, and he gets smashed. He gets smashed, and it it harkens back to what Andor said on the last episode. He said, "It'll be all right, kid." I said, "Damn." I said, "Boy, you want to talk about some shit." But this seemed like to be the plan the whole time for them to actually escape in the lights, the meteor shower, because from the way they're navigating, and the other thing is that they had to. It almost seemed like they shot Karras with adrenaline. Is that what you would call that? They shot him with?
Oh yeah, some kind of or medical cocktail, unidentified. Something to keep him going until they could get him to a hospital.
Yeah, because pretty much from what I'm assuming right there, it crushed his spine.
Yeah,
he said it couldn't feel his legs, and so the assumption there is that it crushed his spine. Andor gets the ship off the ground, gets it in the air. Karras is actually able to navigate them because they've got TIE fighters on them. He's actually able to navigate them through that meteor shower, and that's when they have almost a come to Jesus meeting at that moment. Skeen is saying, "Hey, we need to continue the mission. We need to move on." Vale's like, "We need to get him to a hospital," and this is the point where Andor is like, "Okay, let's get him to a hospital." Even though Andor only cares about himself, he still does care about others as well, as long as you have shown to be loyal. Right. Can we agree with that?
Oh yeah, if you're on the same frequency, you're good to go with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they're able to make it to another planet. All right, and you've got this is the first time, I believe, if I'm correct, we've seen something that would, besides the droid, will say, "Okay, Star Wars, you've seen a doctor with 4 arms."
Right.
Yeah. So this is the first time we've seen something weird and freaky, because pretty much all we've seen is humans so far, right?
Yeah, and droids. They've done a really good job of keeping a lot of the Star Wars fluff out of it.
Yeah, Wookiees
which
and
I really appreciate.
All that stuff. Yeah,
totally appreciate
all that other
that.
stuff. Yeah, so this is the first iteration of something that you'd be like, okay, boom, Star Wars, some type of weird creature, being, whatever. This a doctor. He's trying to actually operate on Karis, and at that point in time, Skeen and Andor have a little conversation. All right, a short conversation, and he actually tells Andor that he doesn't have a brother. So we actually find out, or never had a brother. So we actually find out that Skeen has been scheming as well. So,
yes, he has.
So yeah, I'm wondering.
Well, you can't trust any of these people, to be honest, about their background.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Of course. So we find he's been scheming as well, and so he tries to make a deal with Andor. He says, Andor, or Clem, that's what he knows him as. It's 80 million credits. It's enough to live for a long time. Me and you can, fly away with that. We can split it 50-50. All right, we can split it 50-50. Andor looks at him with the keen eye. Did you feel this coming?
Oh, yeah. No. What he did, I didn't see coming at all.
No, there's no way. I didn't. I was like, holy shit. So he sat there and he kept talking to Andor. And Andor just pulls the gun and blasts him. I said, oh, damn. Dude, that caught me way off guard. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I was like, holy shit. Andor just got me.
Well, it made sense in hindsight because he knew what he was going to do. And he knew that if he left him alone with her, then he would probably overpower her and take the fucking money, and everything would have been for nothing. So I think that's why he killed him.
Kill her. Yeah, and kill her. Because one of the things that you realize is that when Andor even goes back in after they tried to operate on Karis passes, and he's in there with his actual weapon, that he doesn't immediately just shoot him down. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like he did Skeen.
Right.
It's like, all right, this guy's Skeen. He's a bad guy. He's a piece of shit. I got no problem putting him down. And that's one thing I appreciate about Andor. The man is no nonsense. All right, he is no nonsense across the board. I mean, if he feels just a smidgen of backstabbing from you, he'll put you down immediately. So we're learning that about his character, and I'll kind of be interested when I actually, after I watch this season and watch the second season, how it ends. I kind of be interested going back and watching Rogue One to see if there's any type of difference in between the way he is now as the way he is during that, as far as his tactics, because he's ruthless. There's no doubt about it. And you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch Rogue One when we get done with the series. I mean, I've seen it before, but it's always good to have a second look on it after something like this. Yeah,
and it actually kind of reminds me of the way he approached it, the Mel Gibson movie Payback. In that particular movie, he goes and talks to he gets scammed out of like $200,000 from his partner. And so he goes and makes this big fuss, so he goes all the way to the ladder and he's like, yeah, I'm here to collect my $200,000. And the dude's like, is that it? You sure you don't want, 2-3 million? He said, nope, it's 200,000. And Andor was the same way. He said, look,
yeah,
you can have this kyber crystal. I'm going to take my money and you can have the rest. All right. The money I was promised. I was like, damn, man, ordered 80 million up there, man. Hey, but he's ruthless, but at the same time, he's almost caring. You know what I'm saying? His character is like, he's got like polar opposites of himself.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I think it's obvious that it's kind of highlighting the duality in him and the inner conflict that he suffers. Because he definitely suffers inner conflict over, looking out for number one and wanting to be part of like a family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Especially seeing how he's left Ferrix. He knows that he's not going to be able to go back there because they've actually, the Empire has went and actually started to set up a base in Ferrix since that particular event has happened. So as we predicted, that would get more eyes on Ferrix. And that's what we had predicted. Now, some of the things that we didn't speak about was that the the actual lady, and godly, but I can't remember her name, but the one of the women in the Empire that we said was trying to make a come up, she is actually looking even more into the rebellion because she's not sure what's happening, but she believes that it's too random for it to not be planned.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to have some interesting ties. Could we have some configuration with her in particular and potentially Karn in the future? There might be something there, using him as almost like a double agent or something like that. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see where they take her character because it seems to be focused on her some. So she's going to have to play a major role right here within the next coming episodes. You think that's the case?
Possibly. If from the pacing of the series, it seems like they might be setting her up for use in second season. Because we only got 5 episodes left, so I don't know. I think we'll get some more interaction with her. I don't know how much, but we do have a whole nother season to come. And I think the storyline, it feels like we're not going to. I don't know. Maybe it's just my suspicion or hunch, but it feels like the story arc is planned. Even though we definitely have 2 seasons coming, I can sense how the story is being stretched out in order to cover that, as opposed to feeling like it's going to be all rushed into one season. So I think at the end of this season, we're going to get a lot of, basically we're going to get half a story. I think it's going to flow very directly from one to the other. And so, I don't remember your question, but that's my answer.
Yeah. Oh, no. That's a good answer about Deidre, about how she could be a key player in the future. Key player Deidre, we think.
I don't see a redemption arc for her though.
You don't see a redemption arc for Deidre.
No.
So you don't see her joining the rebellion. That's what I'm assuming.
Nah.
She seems very ambitious.
Yeah.
She seems very, very ambitious, and her and Karn are almost kind of the same. Like they've been told not to do something, yet they go and do it anyway, in an ambitious act to further enhance their career, which could end up being their downfall. All right, well, we know it has been Karn's downfall so far, but could it be Deidre's downfall as well? I believe so. You think that's the case?
It's possible. I don't know how invested they're going to get with her in particular, but it's possible. You never know.
Yeah. There's a possibility there, and so because they're going to have. Of course, we've seen at the end of the episode with the empirical, the higher ups gathering around and say, "Hey, but this is code red. Some shit just went awry. I need all hands on deck." So I think that's when we're going to get full force with the Empire. Luthien, he's celebrating because he can't believe that the shit worked.
Yeah.
He can't believe that the shit worked. He's back there laughing. He's just like, Bo, this plan was doomed from the start, but I'll be damned they pulled it off. Okay, now there ain't but 2 of them left. All right. Well, no, there's still Kaz, which they never show how she actually gets out of that facility. I know they show her changing into empirical garment, but I didn't see any women that were guards. Not that I remember.
No.
So I thought she was staying out pretty quickly, but maybe she's got her walk down and everything like that. So that they kind of left that open ended. Of course, Vale and Cassian, they're on another planet, so I'm not sure if we're gonna come back to Kaz. It almost kind of seemed like Kaz and Vale maybe had a relationship, the way they held hands at one time.
I don't think I caught that. No. I don't think they're going to put any kind of emphasis on any kind of emotional attachments or any relationship.
I don't know,
like
Corey. I don't know. I mean, be okay, held hands. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I mean, is it lesbian or what? I mean, we just want to know. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to slide. I mean, that every show got to have, gay guy, lesbian guy now. And
Something like that, yeah.
Gay lesbian girl. It might be a guy that's
Yeah,
trans.
if you watch Star Trek Discovery, that's all it fucking is. Literally. There's only one white there's only one white dude on the show, and he's the fucking flaming gay dude. There's so there's in Star Trek Discovery, there's like 3 gay dudes, a non-binary, 2 guys in wheelchairs. It's like a fucking shit show of the fucking invalids. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm sorry. When did handicapped people become a protected class? Are handicapped people a fucking minority?
Maybe. I don't know. I think a whole lot of people get handicap parking passes, and I see them get out and walk fine. I'm like, all right, well, what's wrong with you? I mean, that's what I want to know. What exactly is wrong with you again? It's like, well, I've got a mental issue. So you get to park closer. Damn, man. I mean, hey, look, man, maybe I need to go check them out. Okay, I feel like I got an issue or two. You know what I'm saying? I think the world's ran off scams. All right, so yeah. That's episode 6. Episode 5 and 6. 6 a banger. 6 great. Where do you think it takes us from here, Corey?
Well, I just don't buy that Andor is out of the fucking fold. Obviously, he has to meet up with the fucking rich guy again, whatever, the politician.
Luthien.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I stuck with names. You're officially the name guy. So he's obviously going to meet up with him again at some point in the future. He's going to try to do his own thing. Luthien is going to try to pull him back into the fold. He's reluctantly going to go. And so that'll probably happen sometime this season. And then next season, we'll probably have more missions from them, is what I'm anticipating.
Yeah. Now, I'm thinking there's got to be something that happens at some point in time where Andor gets some type of emotional bond with somebody, and something's taken for him to really get into, okay, I'm part of this rebellion now. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think something's going to happen that's going to make him more committed?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I think the hook is going to be his sister that hasn't been mentioned since the early episodes.
Right.
I think that's going to be the hook. She's going to end up to be she'll turn out to be like one of the higher ups in this rebellion or something along those lines. Because obviously, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that the word through Luthien came from his sister. It's the only thing that would make sense, and it would complete a huge story arc. So I think that's the direction it's going to go. And if that's the case, how does she have his ear? She has to be important. She has to be higher up. So,
got to be.
Yeah, I think that's where we're going to end up getting. That's going to be the emotional connection. His sister's involved. She's going to pull him in. He's like, fine, fuck it. Let's do it.
Okay. Hey, I like that. I like that, actually. That's pretty good, Corey. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Maybe you should write.
Maybe I should. Give me a $200,000 a year paycheck, and I'll write these stories all day.
Yeah, I can help y'all out. So yeah, I think that'd be a good way to wrap it up. Me and you both be very interested to see where they're going to take Karn's character, the progression of that, and I don't know about Vale. I'm assuming that she's going to maintain some type of presence in this show, seeing how she was the leader of this particular pact and actually has the connection with Luthien. So I'm assuming that's how Luthien's going to be reconnected with Cassian, is through Vale. Could you agree with that? Potentially.
It's hard to say. I'm kind of at a loss as to what's going to happen. But I know that he's going to have to stay in the loop somehow. And so, which means they're going to have to be in contact with him some way. Maybe Luthien has to go track him down again. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
Right. The real question is, if Cassian takes he obviously can't just take the money and leave, because I don't think the other girl can fly the ship.
I think the issue wasn't that she couldn't fly the ship. I think the issue was that he was worried that she wasn't proficient enough to get off of that fucking mechanism that the ship was hanging on.
Okay.
I think that was more the issue.
That might be the case. Okay. Yeah, I can agree with that. That might be the case, because that was their main issue, to actually get the enough thrust to get it up in the air. So they're going to have to be reunited some way. Be very interested to see. With an episode like this, I expect the next episode to be a tad bit slower. Give us some more character development.
Yeah,
maybe
definitely.
Maybe add some elements of Karn. Them having to go and try to hide the credits wherever they're going to take them to. We're probably almost going to have to meet some of the leaders of the rebellion right here shortly, I believe, or some of the current leaders of the rebellion right here shortly, because they got to get these funds to them. So I got a feeling we're going to meet some more characters who are going to be prominent as far as having a prominent role in the start of the actual rebellion. Can you agree with that, Corey? Potentially. They got to get the credit somewhere. I don't think they're going to take them right to Luthien. So. Because
they got the problem is storage. Right to them. So you see, if they just had Bitcoin, they could just throw it on their goddamn cell phone. But no, they got all these goddamn credits. This is the problem. This is like a real problem in real currencies, right? So like, if you have a whole bunch of gold, it's a pain in the ass to move around. But you can just have it in Bitcoin and have it in your pocket. So much better. But they have the issue they're going to run into now is they have a transportation problem, right? They got the fucking credits. Now they got to move them and hide them. That causes logistic issues. So the next issue, we're going to have to see what they do with them credits and how they stash them.
Yeah. And how they spend them. And for me and you both are assuming that there's no way to trace these particular credits.
Right.
Yeah, which is weird, because even if you steal money from the bank, they got the bomb in there, explodes, send stuff all over you, or they can even trace the bill. So it's kind of weird, or maybe that's just something that's just overlooked because but we got to make the story where they can't immediately trace these credits, so they must not be tied just directly into a quote unquote banking system per se.
Right.
Yeah. So that's
actually
what
physical money is what it is.
Yep. Yeah, so episode 6, guys, if you haven't went and watched it, watch it. It's a banger. One of the best episodes I've seen of anything in a while. I mean, anything, I believe. What do you think, Corey?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I think it's one of the best episodes that I've seen in a while of anything.
It was hands down. The best episode I've seen, since I don't even fucking remember. When was the last time we watched something good? Nothing's good. It's all bad. This was good.
Samaritan was good. So.
And the thing that's shocking about it is that it's good, and it's actually Star Wars. Because like people were kind of shit talking Star Wars because it's kind of been, like, let's be real. Mandalorian, it's okay. Boba Fett, it's okay. Obi-Wan, it's okay, I guess. But none of these shows really have to exist, right? These are all obviously cash grabs, but this is the first one that I've seen that actually they put some time into character development, story development, and all the things I want to see. Because I don't know, maybe I'm just getting older. I don't want to see things, blow up every episode.
Right. Of course. So for me, 9 cubes out of 10.
I'm going to give it 8. 8 cubes out of 10. 9, that's like that's stellar. It would have to have some boobs in it for me to give it a 9.
If a tit would have fell out, then you got 9.5 from me. I give a full point for a tit shot. Okay. IMDb rating 4.4K people rated it 9.3 out of 10.
Oh wow, that's pretty. That's good.
So that means that everybody enjoyed it. Okay, there's just no doubt about it.
But I'm not even seeing any hype about it. I'm not seeing any real YouTube reviews. It's still under the fucking radar, big time.
No, which is. Well, there's a lot going on right now. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there's a lot going on. You've got Marvel's got the She-Hulk, which is dog shit. But you've got House of Dragon. There's so much just flooded the market. Of course, you got Apple TV, you got Peacock, so there's so much that flooded the market that sometimes some gems can, go unnoticed and end up becoming what they call have a cult classic. Isn't that what they call them?
Yep.
Cult classic, cult following. Yeah, so I think this can be one of those. But I do encourage people to go check it out. If you haven't seen any of the episodes, you can sit there and binge watch them. if you got 5 hours, you can sit there and binge watch this, and you will not be disappointed. You will not be bored. It keeps you engaged the entire time. So me and Corey giving the thumbs of approval on this particular show. So that's going to wrap up this week's episode of Andor, episode 5 and 6, Showtime with the Cube. Let us know your thoughts on this particular show in the comment section below if y'all are checking it out. We do appreciate everybody for listening to us. And from your boy XQ420, co-host Corey Hughes, we'll catch y'all on the next episode of Showtime with the Cube. Peace out.